There are women who walk with such discernment, such spiritual authority, that they cannot be fooled by sweet words, false promises, or hidden agendas. When she steps into a room, darkness trembles, because she carries a light that exposes deception. This is not just about being strong, it's about being guided by divine wisdom. Today, let's uncover 10 signs that reveal she exposes evil people, so you can recognize the same strength in yourself or in the women around you. She discerns beyond words because her spirit is not easily swayed by smooth talk or carefully crafted lies. While others may be carried away by eloquence, charm, or convincing tones, she listens with the ears of wisdom. She pays attention not only to the sentences that are spoken, but also to the pauses, the hesitations, and the contradictions that leak out when someone is trying to mask their true intent. Her heart has been trained to test the weight of words, measuring them against the consistency of actions, and in this alignment she sees what others miss. She knows that words can be polished, but motives cannot always be hidden. A person can dress their intentions in sweet promises, but when the fruit of their character doesn't match the sound of their voice, she feels the tension. This is why she trusts her inner discernment more than outward appearances. Even in moments when everyone else is clapping or agreeing, her spirit remains still, waiting, watching, and sensing the difference between truth and pretense. Her discernment goes beyond education or experience. It is rooted in a deeper connection. There are times she can't fully explain why she feels uneasy about someone, yet later the truth comes out, proving her spirit was right all along. People may call her suspicious, too careful, or even judgmental, but when deception is revealed, it becomes clear she was simply walking in a higher wisdom. She recognizes that deception often comes wrapped in kindness. Evil rarely approaches looking dangerous. It often comes clothed in opportunity, friendliness, or even empathy. But while others focus on the gift in hand, she pays attention to the hand that carries it. She knows that what glitters isn't always gold, and what looks harmless may be poison when swallowed. Her gift is the ability to look deeper than surface appeal. She watches patterns in behavior and notices the inconsistencies others ignore. Words may say one thing today and another tomorrow, but she tracks the shifts. She sees how someone treats people when no spotlight is on them, how their voice changes when speaking to the powerful versus the powerless. In those subtle details, she detects the truth behind the words, and that truth cannot hide for long. Her discernment is not harsh but protective. It's not about attacking or exposing people out of pride, but about guarding what is good and holy. She knows that if she allows herself to be blinded by empty words, not only she but also those connected to her will be affected. That responsibility sharpens her ability to see clearly, because she refuses to let deception spread unchecked. In her presence, manipulators find themselves uneasy. They can sense that their usual tactics don't work on her. They may attempt flattery, try to appeal to her emotions, or spin convincing stories. But her eyes remain steady, and her ears remain tuned beyond what is spoken. She is not cold or unkind, but she is not naive, and that combination disarms those who rely on deception. She has walked through enough trials to know the cost of trusting the wrong voice. Pain has been her teacher, and betrayal has been her instructor. Those experiences have sharpened her instincts so that now, when she encounters similar patterns, she can recognize them before they repeat themselves. What once wounded her has now become the tool that equips her to discern before the wound is made again. She has learned that silence often speaks louder than words. Sometimes it's not about what someone says, but about what they avoid saying. When people dance around truth, change subjects quickly, or hide behind excuses. She recognizes the absence of honesty. Her gift is not in catching mistakes in grammar or speech, but in recognizing the hesitation of a guilty conscience. Her discernment allows her to move through life with wisdom, choosing her connections carefully. She doesn't build her life on promises. She builds it on proven character. This makes her harder to deceive, harder to manipulate, and harder to break. For she discerns beyond words, and in that discernment, she sees the reality that many overlook. She stands firm in truth, because she understands that truth is not an opinion or a feeling, but a foundation. Many may choose to bend truth when it becomes uncomfortable, yet she holds it tightly, even when it costs her relationships, opportunities, or acceptance. Her loyalty is not to the applause of people, but to the integrity of what is right. This commitment gives her a stability that cannot be shaken by shifting trends or persuasive voices, for she knows that the truth does not change with time or pressure. She has faced situations where lies seemed easier, where compromise looked like the simpler path, but she resisted. Standing firm has often meant standing alone, and she has embraced that cost because she refuses to build her life on fragile ground. When others crumble under the weight of deception, she remains upright, anchored to a truth that does not waver. Her resilience comes not from stubbornness, but from conviction, from the deep knowledge that truth outlives every lie. She has seen how deception destroys trust, how falsehood corrodes the soul, and she has chosen to protect her spirit from those stains. By standing firm in truth, she becomes a refuge for others, a place where people know they will not be meddled. Her words carry weight because her actions have proven her consistency. She has no need to exaggerate or manipulate, for her strength comes from honesty, and her confidence is built on transparency. She understands that truth can sometimes wound, but she would rather speak a hard truth than comfort someone with a lie. Her love is not shallow. It is courageous enough to correct, to challenge, and to warn. She knows that truth may sting for a moment, but deception destroys for a lifetime. This is why she refuses to dilute or water down what is real, because she cares more about lasting healing than temporary ease. Her firmness is also revealed in the way she resists the pressure of the crowd. When the majority chooses compromise, she does not move. When voices around her say to look the other way, she refuses. Her strength is not in how loudly she speaks, but in how deeply she stands. Even in silence, her presence communicates resolve, reminding others that truth still has defenders. She has been tested by seasons where truth was costly. There were moments when speaking truth meant being misunderstood, rejected, or even attacked. Yet each time she stood firm, she discovered that truth also protects, elevates, and preserves. Lies may win temporary battles, but truth secures eternal victories. Her life is proof that integrity outlasts manipulation. She stands firm in truth not just for herself, but for those who cannot yet see clearly. By refusing to compromise, she sets an example, showing others that it is possible to live honestly in a world of deception. She becomes a guide for the younger, a shield for the vulnerable, and a reminder to the wary that truth is still worth defending. Her life becomes a testimony that inspires others to take their stand as well. Her firmness also equips her to face opposition without fear. She knows that lies may be loud, but they are also weak. When confronted, she does not retreat, for she has nothing to hide and nothing to cover. This gives her a quiet strength, the ability to look into the eyes of deception without trembling, because she carries the authority of truth within her. She understands that standing firm in truth requires discipline. It means constantly examining her own motives, ensuring that she does not become the very thing she opposes. Her commitment is not selective. She does not stand for truth only when it benefits her, but even when it costs her comfort. This internal consistency gives her credibility that cannot be bought and a reputation that cannot be stolen. She has learned through time that truth always prevails. Seasons may come when lies seem stronger, when deception appears to prosper, but she waits with patience. She knows that what is false eventually collapses under its own weight, while truth stands forever. This assurance fuels her courage and strengthens her heart, enabling her to walk with confidence in a world that constantly tries to blur the lines between right and wrong. She confronts darkness without fear, because she knows fear only strengthens the grip of evil. When others shrink back at the sight of conflict or opposition, she steps forward with steady resolve. Darkness feeds on silence, but she refuses to give it that luxury. She understands that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. And her decision is always to move toward the light, no matter how threatening the shadows may appear. She has faced enough storms to know that fear is an unreliable guide. Fear exaggerates the size of the enemy, but she has trained her eyes to see things as they really are. Darkness may roar loudly, but it is still powerless in the presence of light. Because of this perspective, she walks into hostile environments with a quiet authority, knowing that her strength comes not from herself, but from the unshakable truth she carries. Her confrontation of darkness is not reckless but intentional. She doesn't fight battles that don't matter, nor does she waste energy on petty disputes. Instead, she focuses her strength on the things that truly destroy lives: lies, manipulation, cruelty, and oppression. She directs her boldness with precision, and when she speaks, her words cut through confusion like a sword, separating truth from falsehood. She understands that avoiding darkness does not make it disappear. Many people pretend not to see, hoping that ignorance will protect them, but she knows silence only gives evil more room to grow. By confronting it, she exposes its weakness and limits its influence. She would rather face conflict head-on than allow hidden corruption to spread unchecked. This makes her both a protector and a warrior, someone who is willing to endure discomfort for the sake of justice. She does not walk into battles relying on her own strength alone. Her confidence comes from a deeper source, and that is why she does not tremble when others do. She has learned to steady her heart before stepping into the fight, to prepare herself inwardly, so that outward resistance cannot shake her. This preparation allows her to face hostility with calmness, for her courage is not built on impulse, but on conviction. She knows that darkness often disguises itself, appearing as opportunity, friendship, or even love. That is why she stays alert, confronting deception even when it comes wearing a smile. Her eyes are trained to see beyond appearances, and when she calls darkness what it truly is, masks fall and truth is revealed. This ability to unmask what others overlook gives her a powerful advantage, because evil cannot thrive when it is named and challenged. She does not fear the backlash that comes with exposing what others try to hide. She has already counted the cost and accepted it. Confronting darkness often means losing popularity, facing criticism, or becoming a target. But she embraces those risks as the price of walking in the light. Her courage is not about seeking conflict, but about refusing to let fear dictate her choices. Her boldness becomes a shield for those who feel powerless. When others see her step into the fight, they find their own courage awakened. By standing against darkness, she creates space for others to breathe freely, teaching them by example that fear does not have to rule their lives. In this way, Her confrontation is not only personal, but also communal. Her strength lifts others who might otherwise stay silent. She carries scars from previous battles, reminders that courage always comes with a cost. Yet instead of discouraging her, those scars empower her. Each wound has taught her that she can survive, and each victory has shown her that darkness always retreats when it is resisted. These experiences have turned her into someone unshaken by threats, someone who can face even greater challenges with unyielding determination. Her life testifies that darkness cannot intimidate those who walk in the light. She doesn't wait for someone else to step up. She knows the moment she sees injustice or deception, she has a responsibility to act. The strength she carries is not loud or boastful, but steady and unrelenting. And when she confronts darkness without fear, she becomes a force that changes the atmosphere. Driving out shadows, wherever she goes, she protects the innocent, because her heart cannot bear to see the vulnerable crushed by the weight of injustice. She recognizes that not everyone has the strength to stand up for themselves. Not everyone has the voice to speak against oppression. And not everyone has the wisdom to recognize deception before it's too late. That awareness drives her to step into the gap, to be a covering for those who might otherwise be devoured by schemes meant to harm them. Her compassion is not passive. It is active, bold, and unrelenting in its pursuit of safety for those who are weak. She has an instinct to shield, a natural awareness when someone around her is in danger. It could be a child overlooked, a friend being manipulated, or a stranger facing mistreatment. Her spirit stirs, and she cannot remain silent. She knows that looking away is easier, but she refuses to trade her comfort for the pain of another. Her presence becomes a safe place, a refuge where others feel seen, heard, and defended against forces greater than them. Her protection is not only physical, but also emotional and spiritual. She understands that harm doesn't always come with fists or weapons. Sometimes it comes with lies, with words that bruise the heart, with manipulation that slowly breaks a soul. She steps in to call out those tactics, to uncover what others try to hide, and to offer the innocent a shield from unseen battles. Her strength reassures the weak that they are not alone in their fight. She does not confuse protection with control. She doesn't take over lives or smother people with dominance. Instead, she empowers them to grow stronger, to recognize danger themselves, and to find their own courage. Her protection is like a shelter in a storm, offering safety until the rain passes, while still preparing those under her care to face future storms with resilience. She doesn't just guard people, she equips them. Her heart burns with justice when she sees exploitation. She cannot tolerate those who take advantage of innocence, who prey on trust, or who deceive for personal gain. Her words sharpen when confronting such people, and her actions are firm, because she knows that protecting the innocent often requires drawing clear boundaries. She refuses to allow manipulation to continue unchecked, even if standing against it costs her personally. She has a softness that draws the innocent near, but beneath that softness lies iron strength. Those who seek refuge in her presence feel safe, because they sense she will not allow harm to reach them. Her tenderness and her boldness work hand in hand. Compassion motivates her protection, and courage sustains it. She proves that true gentleness is not weakness, but controlled strength used for the sake of others. Her protection often happens quietly, without recognition or applause. Sometimes no one but she and the one she shielded know what she has done. She does not seek credit or appreciation, because her goal is never attention but preservation. The innocent may not always realize the extent of what she prevented, but her willingness to stand in the way of danger becomes the silent barrier that saves them from pain. She has endured moments when protecting the innocent meant becoming the target herself. Stepping between the vulnerable and the aggressor often draws the attack toward her, but she accepts that risk. She knows her strength was given for a reason, and if she must absorb the blows to prevent harm from reaching someone else, she does it with resolve. Her sacrifices are unseen but profound, and they leave lasting imprints of safety on the lives she guards. She believes that innocence is precious, worth guarding against corruption. She treasures purity of heart, simplicity of trust, and the beauty of untainted hope. That belief fuels her actions because she knows that once innocence is stolen, it can never fully return. She carries a fierce determination to protect that purity, whether it belongs to a child, a friend, or even a stranger whose vulnerability cries out for defense. Her protection flows from love that refuses to look away. She sees the innocent as worth fighting for, worth defending, worth covering when others exploit them. Her strength becomes their shelter, her voice becomes their defense, and her courage becomes their shield. Wherever she walks, the innocent walk safer, because she has chosen to guard them with everything within her heading. And conclusion, ChatGPT said, she recognizes patterns others ignore because her eyes are trained to notice the subtle details that often escape ordinary observation. While many people look only at the surface, she pays attention to the rhythm of behavior, the repetition of actions, and the small signs that point toward larger truths. She knows that evil rarely shows itself openly at first. It often slips in quietly, repeating small actions until they grow into destructive habits. Where others dismiss these moments as coincidence, she sees the consistency that reveals the heart behind them. She notices how people treat those who can offer them nothing in return. She pays attention to how someone reacts when corrected, when frustrated, or when denied what they want. While the average person may ignore those small outbursts, she recognizes them as indicators of deeper motives. Her ability to connect these dots gives her a unique strength. She doesn't just see what is happening now. She can often predict what will happen later if those behaviors continue. She has learned that repetition is the language of character. Anyone can act kind once. Anyone can speak truth for a moment, but consistency shows whether it is genuine or not. She knows that real integrity is revealed over time, and patterns are the footprints of truth. By studying those footprints, she uncovers the direction someone is truly walking, even if their words claim otherwise. She has developed a memory that doesn't forget contradictions. When someone's actions today do not align with their words yesterday, she remembers. Where others may brush it off as a mistake or miscommunication, she recognizes a pattern of inconsistency. That awareness gives her clarity in relationships, decisions, and alliances, protecting her from being deceived by temporary charm. She pays attention to cycles of behavior, not only in individuals, but also in situations. She notices when circumstances repeat themselves, when familiar struggles or deceptions reappear under different disguises. Her awareness allows her to respond with wisdom instead of naivety, because she refuses to be caught off guard by something she has already seen before. The lessons of the past sharpen her ability to navigate the present. Her ability to recognize patterns comes from patience. While many rush to judgment based on first impressions, she waits and observes. She is not fooled by one act of generosity or one kind gesture. She watches to see if it continues. She understands that time always reveals truth, and she has the discipline to let that truth unfold. In her patience, she gains the insight others lose by moving too quickly. She notices even the smallest inconsistencies. A slight shift in tone, a repeated excuse, or a subtle evasion. She collects these details like threads and weaves them together until the larger picture emerges. Others may see scattered pieces, but she sees the pattern forming, and once the design is clear, she knows exactly what she is dealing with. This clarity becomes her shield against manipulation. She has been called cautious, even skeptical, but experience has proven her approach wise. Too many people fall into traps because they ignore the warnings hidden in repeated actions. She refuses to dismiss them because she knows that small signs ignored today grow into painful consequences tomorrow. Her vigilance is not paranoia. It is wisdom learned through careful observation and past scars. Her recognition of patterns also allows her to break cycles. When she sees destructive behaviors repeating in families, relationships, or communities, she does not stay silent. She names the pattern and challenges it, refusing to let history repeat itself unchallenged. Her boldness to expose cycles helps others see what they could not see for themselves, and in doing so, she offers them freedom from chains they didn't even realize were binding them. Her strength lies in her ability to see the invisible threads connecting words, actions, and intentions. She does not need to be told outright what is happening. She pieces it together herself through observation, memory, and discernment. While others may walk blindly into traps, she has already mapped out the patterns, and that knowledge allows her to walk with wisdom, clarity, and strength in a world that often thrives on deception. She speaks with boldness because she understands the power of words and refuses to let her voice be silenced when truth needs to be spoken. While others may hesitate, calculating the risk of rejection or the discomfort of confrontation, she opens her mouth with conviction. Her words are not careless or impulsive. They are deliberate, strong, and filled with weight. She does not waste her voice on empty chatter, but when it is time to speak, she does so with a clarity that pierces through confusion. Her boldness does not come from arrogance, but from confidence in what she knows is right. She does not raise her voice to dominate or to prove herself superior, but to ensure that truth is not drowned out by lies. Her tone carries authority because it is rooted in conviction, not in pride. People listen to her because they can feel the strength behind her words, a strength that is not easily shaken by opposition. She has learned that silence in the face of wrongdoing is dangerous. She refuses to stand by while others suffer in silence or while lies circulate unchecked. Even when her words make her unpopular, she speaks them, because she knows that withholding truth is its own form of compromise. Her courage is evident in her willingness to be misunderstood or criticized, because for her, truth matters more than approval. Her boldness is not reckless but measured. She does not speak without thought, but neither does she hesitate so long that opportunities pass her by. She chooses her words carefully, and once she has chosen them, she delivers them without apology. This balance between wisdom and courage makes her voice effective, sharp enough to challenge, yet steady enough to inspire. She speaks with boldness even in environments designed to silence her. In rooms where intimidation reigns, where voices are suppressed, she becomes the one who breaks the silence. Her voice rises not to create chaos, but to restore order, not to incite fear, but to confront it. She knows that boldness is often contagious, and when she speaks, others who were afraid to raise their voices find the courage to join her. Her words carry the weight of experience. She has been through trials, endured betrayal, and overcome challenges, and those experiences fuel her confidence. She does not speak from theory but from reality, and that authenticity makes her boldness impossible to ignore. When she says something, it carries the force of someone who has lived it, and that lived truth resonates far deeper than rehearsed phrases. She also understands the importance of timing. Boldness is not just about what is said, but when it is said, she has the discernment to know when silence is necessary and when words must be released. Her ability to choose the right moment makes her boldness even more impactful, because she does not waste her strength, but applies it when it will be most effective. She has faced resistance, yet it has only strengthened her voice. The more people tried to silence her, the stronger she became. Attempts to intimidate her or belittle her words only revealed the power they carried. She has learned that boldness often provokes opposition, but she welcomes that reality because it confirms that her words are making an impact. Her boldness is not just for herself. It is a shield for others. She speaks on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves, giving voice to the voiceless and defense to the defenseless. Her courage creates space for others to be heard, and her words often open doors that were locked shut by fear or injustice. She uses her boldness not as a weapon of pride, but as a tool of protection and liberation. She knows that every word she speaks leaves a mark, so she chooses to speak boldly, not timidly. Her voice does not blend into the background, but rises above it, clear and unwavering. She refuses to let deception go unchallenged, refuses to let truth be silenced, and refuses to let fear control her tongue. Her boldness turns her voice into a force that shapes the atmosphere around her, declaring strength, courage, and unshakable conviction. She refuses to compromise because she knows that once she lowers her standard for the sake of convenience, it becomes easier to lower it again the next time. She understands that compromise often begins subtly, with small decisions that seem harmless but slowly chip away at integrity. What starts as a minor concession can become a habit that erodes her foundation. For this reason, she guards her principles fiercely, knowing that her strength lies in remaining true to what she believes, regardless of pressure. She has faced situations where compromise promised quick rewards. Opportunities that looked golden often came with strings attached, asking her to silence her convictions or dilute her values. But she has chosen the longer path, the harder road, rather than betraying the truth that anchors her. To many, her refusal may look stubborn, but in reality, it is the courage to sacrifice temporary gain for lasting integrity. She understands that compromise is not always about actions, but about identity. The moment she accepts less than what aligns with her values, she loses a part of who she is. She knows that strength is not measured by how much she can gain, but by how much she is willing to lose to protect her soul. That clarity keeps her steady when others bend, because she refuses to trade her essence for approval. Her refusal to compromise is not prideful but principled. It is not about proving she is better than others, but about proving faithful to herself. She knows that the cost of standing firm may sometimes be isolation, but the cost of bending is self-betrayal. She would rather stand alone in truth than walk with many in deception. That choice gives her a rare authenticity, the kind that cannot be bought or imitated. She has experienced moments where people tried to manipulate her through fear or guilt, urging her to take shortcuts or ignore her values for the sake of peace. Yet she recognizes that false peace built on compromise never lasts. She chooses the discomfort of confrontation over the emptiness of silence, knowing that bending to please others only breeds regret later. Her firmness may frustrate some, but it commands respect from all who watch her live without double standards. She sees compromise as a thief, one that slowly robs people of their clarity, dignity, and strength, many fall into its trap because it disguises itself as wisdom or practicality. But she has trained her spirit to recognize when practicality is actually surrender. She listens not just to the reasoning of the moment, but to the long-term consequences, and that perspective keeps her from making decisions that weaken her core. Her refusal often requires sacrifice. There have been times when she has walked away from opportunities, relationships, or resources because they demanded too high a price. Her values. Those sacrifices have not made her weaker but stronger, because every time she says no to compromise, she says yes to her integrity. Each choice reinforces her foundation, making her more unshakable with each passing test. She knows that compromise spreads quickly if left unchecked. Once a person compromises in one area, it becomes easier to justify in another, and before long, they no longer recognize themselves. She refuses to let that erosion take root in her life. Her consistent choices protect her from sliding into a place where truth no longer matters. And in that consistency lies her power. Her strength also empowers others to resist compromise. By watching her stand firm, those around her gain the courage to do the same. She becomes a living example that it is possible to succeed without bending, to thrive without surrendering, to live boldly without betraying values. Her life speaks louder than her words, showing that true fulfillment comes from holding fast to principles, not abandoning them for fleeting rewards. She lives with the awareness that compromise may win temporary approval, but always costs eternal peace. That awareness keeps her sharp, alert, and unwilling to bow to pressure. She has chosen the harder path because it is the right one, and in making that choice daily, she proves that her convictions are not for sale. Her refusal to compromise makes her a rare presence in a world that constantly pressures people to bend. She shines light in hidden places because she refuses to let deception thrive in the shadows. She knows that darkness has power only when it goes unnoticed, when it hides behind secrecy and silence. By bringing things into the open, she strips evil of its strength. Her presence has a way of uncovering what others overlook, exposing lies, and revealing truths that many try to bury. She understands that nothing destructive can survive when it is fully seen, so she makes it her mission to reveal what others would rather conceal. She has a sensitivity to the things people try to mask. She notices the subtle cracks in a story, the hidden tension behind a smile, the weight someone carries behind their silence. While others accept appearances at face value, she looks deeper, shining her light into the corners where pain, fear, or deceit are hiding. Her attention is not intrusive but purposeful, driven by a desire to bring healing and freedom where shadows have lingered too long. Her light is not harsh or condemning, it is steady and unyielding. She doesn't expose hidden things to shame or destroy, but to set people free from the chains that secrecy places on them. She knows that the longer something remains in the dark, the more it grows in power. By shining light, she breaks the hold of secrecy, giving people the chance to confront reality and find restoration. She understands that hidden places exist not only in the world around her, but also in the hearts of people. She carries the ability to draw out what others keep buried, helping them confront wounds they have hidden and lies they have believed. Her light brings clarity, showing that healing begins where honesty starts. She refuses to ignore the quiet struggles people mask with laughter or confidence, and in her presence, they feel safe enough to bring those struggles into the open. She has faced resistance from those who benefit from hiding in the dark. There are always people who prefer secrecy, who thrive on deception, who fear exposure. When she enters their space, they feel uncomfortable because her light threatens their control. Yet she does not dim her light to make them comfortable. She knows that her purpose is not to maintain their illusions, but to bring forth the truth that can no longer be denied. Her light often reveals things people didn't even realize were hidden. She has a way of connecting events, words, and actions that uncover the bigger picture. While others see isolated moments, she pieces them together to show what has been concealed beneath the surface. This ability makes her a protector, because by exposing what is hidden, she prevents others from falling into traps designed to keep them blind. She also recognizes that hidden places can exist in systems, traditions, or communities where corruption has been covered for too long. She does not hesitate to step into those spaces and shine her light, even when it disrupts the comfort of those who want to maintain appearances. Her courage to address these deeper issues proves that her commitment to truth is larger than her concern for reputation. Her shining light is not always welcomed, but it is always needed. Many times, people don't realize how much they have been living in shadows until her light illuminates the reality. At first, it may be uncomfortable, even painful, but eventually they see that her light was never meant to harm them. It was meant to guide them into freedom, into clarity, and into a place where deception no longer controls them. She has discovered that shining light in hidden places requires strength, because darkness resists exposure. Yet every time she confronts secrecy, she grows stronger herself. Her light does not fade with opposition, it burns brighter. Each hidden thing revealed becomes proof that her role is necessary, that her voice and her courage make a difference in breaking the cycles of silence. Her ability to shine light in hidden places transforms the spaces she enters. Rooms where deceit once flourished become places of honesty. Relationships once clouded with manipulation become clear. Communities once trapped in silence find their voice again. Wherever she goes, she leaves a trail of clarity, because her very presence challenges the shadows to flee. Her life is a reminder that no darkness is too deep to be pierced by the steady glow of truth. She endures attacks but remains unshaken because she understands that opposition is a sign of her impact. The very fact that she is attacked means she is disturbing the plans of those who thrive in darkness. She knows that resistance comes with purpose, and instead of shrinking back, she uses it as confirmation that she is on the right path. Attacks may come in whispers, lies, criticism, or even isolation, but none of these have the power to break her resolve. She views them not as obstacles, but as opportunities to prove her strength. She has learned to expect attacks when she chooses to live boldly in truth. She does not walk into life naive, thinking everyone will applaud her courage. Instead, she walks prepared, knowing that the more light she carries, the more shadows will try to push back. This awareness keeps her steady, because she does not mistake opposition for failure. She knows that those who fight her are really fighting the truth she carries. She draws her stability from a deeper source than approval. While others might crumble under rejection, she does not base her worth on what people think or say. Attacks cannot destroy her because her foundation is not built on opinions. She is rooted in conviction, and conviction does not move when storms rise. This inner anchor allows her to face criticism without letting it sink into her soul. She understands that attacks often reveal more about the attacker than about her. When people lash out, spread lies, or attempt to undermine her, she recognizes that their actions flow from fear, insecurity, or guilt. Instead of allowing their behavior to wound her identity, she sees it as proof that her light is uncovering something they would rather keep hidden. This perspective frees her from bitterness because she does not take their attacks personally. She has endured seasons where attacks felt overwhelming, where it seemed as though lies outnumbered the truth and enemies outshouted her voice. Yet even in those times, she discovered a resilience within herself that could not be explained by her own strength alone. Each attack became a lesson in endurance, each trial a refining fire that left her stronger than before. She emerged not weakened but sharpened, not broken but fortified. She refuses to fight fire with fire. When attacked, she does not lower herself to respond with the same weapons used against her. Instead, she responds with integrity, refusing to let their darkness define her actions. This self-control sets her apart, because while others expect her to crumble or retaliate, she chooses dignity. Her silence at times speaks louder than her words, proving that she cannot be dragged into the mud where her attackers dwell. She has a remarkable ability to remain calm under pressure. When storms of criticism rage around her, she does not panic or lose direction. She takes a deep breath, gathers her focus, and continues to move forward. Her calmness frustrates her enemies because they cannot manipulate her with chaos. She remains composed, proving that inner peace is stronger than external noise. She also understands that endurance is not just about surviving attacks, but about continuing her mission in spite of them. Many people stop pursuing their calling because of resistance, but she refuses to stop. Attacks may slow her, but they will not stop her. She keeps her eyes fixed on the purpose ahead, refusing to allow distractions to derail her journey. Her perseverance is a declaration that her calling matters more than her comfort. She does not endure alone. She surrounds herself with wisdom, with people who remind her of who she is when the voices of attack try to make her forget. She knows the value of standing with others who strengthen her resolve. But even when she stands alone, she knows she is never truly by herself. This awareness allows her to press forward with confidence, because she carries within her a strength that cannot be taken away. She proves through her life that endurance is not weakness but power. Anyone can shine when celebrated, but it takes true strength to shine when attacked. Her ability to remain unshaken through the blows of criticism, rejection, and lies reveals a depth of resilience that inspires others. She becomes a living reminder that no attack, no storm, and no opposition can destroy a spirit rooted in unshakable conviction. She inspires others to see clearly because her life itself becomes a mirror that reflects truth. When people watch the way she stands, the way she speaks, and the way she refuses to compromise, they begin to realize that they too have been settling for blurred vision. She awakens in them a new awareness, showing them that what they once accepted as normal may have only been a shadow of what was real. Her example opens eyes that have long been closed, reminding them that clarity is possible when courage leads the way. She does not have to preach long sermons to awaken people. Her actions speak louder than any words could. People notice how she handles deceit, how she discerns motives, and how she walks with unwavering truth. This consistent integrity challenges them to look inward, to examine where they have ignored warning signs or overlooked hidden agendas. By watching her, they learn that it is possible to walk with wisdom and not be fooled by appearances. She carries a light that does more than expose darkness. It also gives others vision. It is as if her presence wipes away the fog from their eyes, helping them recognize patterns, behaviors, and intentions they once dismissed. Many people, blinded by charm or manipulation, find themselves suddenly able to see through the illusions once they encounter her clarity. Her courage gives them permission to admit what they already sensed, but were too afraid to acknowledge. She inspires clarity not by demanding others to change, but by living in such a way that change becomes undeniable. When they see her refusing to be swayed by lies, they begin to question why they have allowed themselves to be deceived for so long. Her steadiness draws a contrast between truth and falsehood so sharp that people cannot ignore it. She becomes a living example of what it means to walk in discernment, and that example pushes others to lift the veil from their own eyes. She has the ability to articulate what others feel but cannot express. Many carry silent suspicions, uneasy feelings, or unspoken doubts about certain people or situations. When she speaks boldly and shines light on hidden matters, they suddenly realize their instincts were right. This validation gives them confidence to trust their own discernment, to stop silencing their inner voice, and to act with greater conviction. She shows them that they are not alone in what they see and sense. Her clarity does not just reveal evil, but also highlights goodness. She reminds people that while darkness is real, so is light, and it is stronger. She helps them recognize the difference between genuine love and manipulation, between sincerity and pretense. By drawing such clear distinctions, she empowers others to make choices rooted in wisdom instead of fear. Her example teaches them that clarity is not only about recognizing what to reject, but also about embracing what is true in life, giving. She inspires others because she does not keep her vision to herself. She shares her insight with humility, not as someone who claims superiority, but as someone who wants others to walk in freedom. Her words and actions encourage people to lift their heads, open their eyes, and see beyond surface-level appearances. She plants in them the courage to seek truth for themselves rather than depending on others to tell them what to believe. She understands that seeing clearly can be uncomfortable because it means facing realities people would rather ignore. Yet she does not soften her clarity to make others comfortable. Instead, she helps them embrace the discomfort as part of growth. She walks with them through the process of recognizing deception, healing from it, and learning to live with sharper vision. By doing so, she equips them to face life with eyes wide open. She has a way of leaving people changed after encountering her. They may come to her clouded by confusion, weighed down by lies, or blinded by manipulation, but they leave with a clearer perspective. Even if they don't act immediately, a seed has been planted, and over time, that seed grows into boldness and wisdom. Her life becomes a catalyst for transformation, moving others from blindness to sight, from uncertainty to clarity. Her ability to inspire others to see clearly creates ripple effects far beyond herself. One person she empowers goes on to awaken another, and soon entire communities begin to shift from deception to truth. She becomes the spark that ignites a chain reaction of vision and discernment, showing that clarity is not just for her, but for all who are willing to open their eyes. Her influence lives on in every person who chooses to walk in truth because she inspired them to see what they once could not. A woman who exposes evil people is not ordinary. She is chosen, sharpened, and fearless. She doesn't battle with human strength, but with divine clarity. Her life is proof that no darkness can survive where the light stands tall. And when she rises, others rise with her, empowered to live in truth and overcome deception.